everyone. This regular city council meeting is called to order. City clerk, take the roll.
Mayor Wolcott
Is absent.
Councilmember Tandy,
Is also absent.
Councilmember Williams,
Is present.
Councilmember Hall,
Here.
Councilmember Villanueva,
Here.
Councilmember Hayden,
Here.
Councilmember Winters.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, please rise. Leading the pledge tonight are students from Parkview Elementary School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Parkview. All right. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. I have two items, and first I'd like to bring our youth administrator up, Mr. Mike Cassidy, who's going to introduce our guests that are here for us today. Mike.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, members of the council. It is my pleasure to introduce some very special guests that we have with us tonight. As was mentioned, we have a group of fifth grade students from Parkview Elementary School. Parkview Elementary's mission is to achieve high academic excellence through group collaboration and a positive school culture by modeling positive character and providing service to our local and worldwide community with passion and persistence. One of the things that stood out to me as I got to learn more a little bit about Parkview's mission and their vision was their commitment to never allow the fear of failure to prevent them from exploring new or innovative ideas. Their vision includes a school where students and teachers are actively taking risks, willing to make mistakes, and then using those mistakes to make adjustments for better future learning. And I personally am a big proponent of the idea that if we're succeeding at everything that we're doing, then we're not pushing ourselves enough. So I really respect that Parkview has that element, and I hope that the youth are picking up on that as well. Parkview students are joined here tonight by fifth grade teachers Cindy Swenson, Angela Otterness, Nancy Zink, and Parkview principal Rosalind Fisher. Would all staff, admin, and teachers please stand to be recognized? Thank you. And at this time, I would like to invite 4 students from Parkview up to the podium to share a few words about their school. We'd like to have Raina Judas, Hannah Stanfill, Alanis Ritter, and Ava Albi. Please come up to the podium.
Good evening, my name is Raina Judas, and it is an honor to speak tonight. This is an important year. Americans have the opportunity to elect new government officials. We have been learning about the importance of voting and learning about candidates in our social studies class with Ms. Zink. We are lucky to live in a country where every citizen has the opportunity to vote. It has not always been the same in America. At one time, women and African Americans did not have the right to vote. People stood up for what they believed, and that is how the law changed. We have the right to speak our mind without being arrested. In other countries, some group of people are not able to vote. If they speak their mind, they will be arrested. They do not have the same rights as we do in the United States of America. It is important for every American to vote. We are able to voice our opinion and make a change in our country. Let's make a difference. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Hi, my name is Hannah Stanfill, and thank you for letting me be here tonight. It is an honor to be able to speak to everyone. I've come here to brag about how fantastic our school is, Parkview Elementary. Parkview Elementary's school is great because everyone is very welcoming and helpful. At Parkview Elementary School, we are all significant individuals, but as a team, we are powerful. When we work together, we are able to accomplish our goals. Parkview Elementary School is also a very fun place to learn. For example, Sometimes our teachers let us work in teams. This allows us to work together and brainstorm ideas. When we put our ideas together, we are unstoppable. We are the Pythons because we never give up, and we are as tough as can be. This is important because we all have goals in our life, and Parkview will help us achieve those goals. If we wanted to be successful in the future, we need to learn how to take steps to accomplish our goals. At Parkview Elementary School, we also have art, PE, music, library, and CCR. These classes help us teach important skills that we may need in life. This is important because This is important because no matter what career you have in the future, you need to work as a team. Be creative, think outside the box, and stand up for your beliefs. We learn these traits plus others in our special area classes. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. It was an honor.
Hi, my name is Ava, and thank you for letting me come here. It is an honor to speak in front of the City Council. I love Parkview Elementary School because the teachers teach us many things, like how to be respectful, responsible, and how to be an incredible person. Not only do the teachers teach us language arts, science, math, PE, music, art, and CCR, but they also teach us character traits. Those character traits include respect, responsibility, caring, kindness, and many more. Respect is a key trait in life. In order to be a no-bullying area, you need to respect the differences of other people. Second, Parkview shows how to be a responsible citizen by making sure that we clean up our mess in the cafeteria, helping us learn how to take responsibility for our actions, and teaching us the importance of why we should do our work and complete it on time. Third and last, Parkview shows the importance of caring for safety by making sure we are okay and what to do if a stranger comes into our school. We will have a lockdown and to make sure that we are safe. And if we fall, they make sure we are okay and they take us to the nurse, and the teachers are also there to listen to us if we have a problem. These are the 3 things that I believe that are most important traits they teach us. Thank you for giving me your time, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Hello, my name is Alanis Ritter, and I'm a Parkview Python. I'm proud to be a Python because we are against bullies. We have clubs and assemblies for bully awareness. I'm also proud to be a Python because Parkview gives me an education. Here in America, everyone can get an education. In some countries, girls can't receive an education. Girls have to stay home and do chores, while boys are able to learn and work. I want to be an astronomer or an archaeologist or a marine biologist when I grow up. And if I were to live in a different country, that might not be possible. That is why we should cherish our education, because millions of children are unable to have an opportunity to learn. I'm also proud to be a Python because of our amazing teachers. Our teachers are respectful, kind, nice, smart, and responsible. They help us learn the importance of positive traits and how to be the best person possible. I would like to say thank you to every teacher I've had, and especially to my 3 main teachers this year, Ms. Zink, Ms. Swenson, and Ms. Arnis. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
Yes. No, I'm not going to say anything, but they can come up. Great job, girls.
Parents, please come up and take photos. I've got the back. All the way across the
Everyone kind of turn their bodies and face me, please.
Say cheese. Say cubbies. It's 8-0 right now. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert first. Yeah, just hit a grand slam. Russell. Nice.
Got everybody?
All right, give it up for Parkview.
Good job, guys.
I think they have math words.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's awesome. Let's go.
You're good?
I'm good. I can.
Anything further, City Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do have one announcement that I'd like to make, and it's actually a big thank you. I think most of you know yesterday the City of Surprise's bond rating was upgraded by Fitch Rating from AA- to AA+. That's an improvement of two. That's an improvement of 2 ratings, which is almost unprecedented. And I'd like to thank our finance department, and particularly Lindsay Duncan, Andrea Davis, Jared Askelson, and Nick Sarpy. Also, we've been working for a number of years, well over 5 years, with outside financial advisor. His name's Jim Strickland, who's worked really hard to keep us in the game and setting a path for us to get to this destination. But a bond rating is, since we've just finished up with the Olympics, a bond rating is not like an individual event where you run like a 100-yard dash, but it's more like a decathlon, as it looks at a number of aspects, almost the complete look at the City of Surprise to outside investors. And so not only is it the great work of our finance department, it's the work of all our departments, from our public safety departments, economic development, communications and marketing, our CRS department. But I think really also, most notably tonight, is to our leadership. It's to you, the council, because the reason we're here today is because you made tough decisions a number of years ago and provided great leadership in not only the good times, but in the challenging times. And so really on behalf of our staff, we give it up to you tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wiggenroth. City Attorney report.
None tonight. Thank you.
He's a Cubs fan. City Clerk report.
Yes, we are still having early voting right now for the general election, and it's through this Friday here at City Clerk's office, 8 to 5. And if you don't vote early, then you have to wait till Election Day and go to your designated poll. So for that information, you can call the clerk's office at 222-1200 to find out where your designated polling location is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar, and your team's doing a terrific job managing the early voting. Also, just want to note we have 2 youth council members up on the dais for those that haven't been here and haven't seen Riley's beautiful face and Mr. Connor over there. But we have youth councils. They take rotations. This is Riley's second tour of duty up here, but we appreciate having them up here. They're members of our Surprise Youth Council.
I think they deserve it.
All right, call the public.
Yes, we have one, Ken Wright.
Mr. Wright.
Good evening, Council. I want to talk tonight about the capital improvement, proposed capital improvement bond. First off, I'd like to express gratitude to the way this was done this time as opposed to several years ago. Everything was put together in a logical manner. more than an ample opportunity was given to people to come to respective meetings. With a further extension, if you can't make a meeting, we'll send somebody out to your HOA or whatever. And so that's very good. And now I want to read from a prepared statement, please. The capital improvement bond proposed by the Surprise City Council deserves our support. Development and presentation of the program have been transparent. Projects are clearly identified, estimated cost for each is provided, and an aggressive time frame for work to start is noted. Very aggressive time frame. Police and fire needs are addressed along with street work, facilities, and recreation needs. Approving the bond is step one. Surprise is fortunate to have a professional senior management team. And by that, I mean not only the department head, but the council and the appointed officials, everybody that's involved in that. They will provide oversight of the various projects as plans move forward. A plan is in place to pay for new staffing as projects are completed. Surprise City Council has approved a plan to renovate the original town site. Greenway has been rebuilt from Bullard to Litchfield. Many miles of streets in Sun City Grand have been resurfaced. More miles have been resurfaced throughout the city. The sidewalk on Bell Road from Grand to the east has been completed. Bell and Grand intersection work is progressing nicely. The point being that no part of Surprise is being ignored when it comes to needed improvements. A Surprise annual budget cannot finance these large-scale projects. If Surprise is to move forward in an orderly manner, a bond program is needed. With interest rates being so low, the time is right to support the proposed bond program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Ms. Aguilar, anyone else wishing to speak at Call of the Public?
That is all.
All right, thank you. That moves us to the consent agenda. Council, does anyone want to pull anything from consent? And a motion?
Make a motion to pass the consent calendar, please.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Clerk will take the roll. Thank you. That moves us to item number 9.
Item number 9, consideration and action pertaining to a rezone of the Surprise Village Marketplace planned area development to provide development standards and allowing for self-storage and recreational vehicle storage ordinance 2016-30.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Wingard. Take it away. I don't think that mic is on. Now it is.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Good evening, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, I bring before you the Surprise Village Marketplace, a zoning amendment for the PAD. This is in the area of Bell and 303 on the southeast corner, more commonly known as the Sam's Club area. A little bit closer in to show you how this is in relation to Sun City Grand to the north, Northwest Ranch to the south, Surprise Farms on the other side of the 303, and Mountain Vista Ranch to the east. Tonight's PADA is for a specific site in the PAD, and it is for a self-storage. And the area in blue is the location where this is to be placed. Just to show you the adjacent zoning for this area, it's mostly PAD surrounding the area. Residential to the north and to the south, and with commercial on either side to east and west. And again, just to give you an idea where this site is located. Now, this PAD amendment is basically to do two things for the existing PAD. One is to allow self-storage and for recreational vehicle storage and provide dimensional standards for these uses. Now, working with the applicant, it was a pleasure to work with this applicant. They really worked together with staff to come up with standards that wouldn't be your typical self-storage unit that this architecture would work in with the rest of the whole Surprise Village marketplace. I can't say it as good as the one in the original town site that's being built, but this is a close second. This will provide dimensional standards. You can see that the setbacks have changed slightly on this, and this being a facility that uses the buildings as part of the walls to the outside, that's where you get some of the reduced standards of that. Again, this is showing the master site plan, the area of the facility itself, and what this will look. This is back off of Bell Road a couple hundred feet. To the north, right now under construction, we have Bobo's. We have there's another Shops D over to the northwest portion, and another vacant parcel that'll be developed soon to the northeast. And then, of course, the Sam's Club facility would be to the southwest. Now, as I said before, staff was very concerned about the appearance of this facility. And there's portions of the two buildings that will be two-story. And so this elevation shows you what this will look like from Bell Road. This does not show the actual buildings that are being built, Bobo and the Marketplace D, but you can see that the same arches that are found in the architecture of the buildings on the facility, as well as the colors, and we even have faux windows on the second floor to make it appear more professional in nature. Interior to the site, that will be the entrance to the facility, and this is just a view of how that will look from that site. And with that, I can answer any comments, and the applicant is here to answer any comments you may have.
All right, Councilmember Winters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Bart, for that presentation. I really think this is a good location for that building, and I'll tell you why, because it's about 275 feet off of Bell Road. I don't think a storefront or an office building work as well as a storage unit. And I do believe that's a niche that needs to be filled, because there are some storage places around that are pretty near filled up. And so I think it's a good project. I like the elevation of the building. I think the building is good. So I hope the rest of the council agrees. Thank you.
Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one thing. I agree, Councilman Winters. I think it's a good project. I just had I like the way the applicant has worked with you, Bart, and making sure that the exterior looks good. And I'm looking at, there's only a real quick look at that building when you're driving down Bell, given the buildings in front. And I think they've done a good job of presentation there. My question is, the ground level, is it the same level as the if you can go to that map, I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, is the ground level of building 5 and building 4, et cetera, are they at the same level as the assisted living or whatever is going behind it? They're not. I don't want to say, because sometimes, like what happened at Winco, is an example. The ground level was higher than we thought, and then we had a little problem with light intrusion and that kind of stuff. So just want to make sure.
Mr. Chair, Councilman, yes, staff did have that concern with that, and if I may, because everything in Surprise does kind of flow to the south, to the southeast,
right?
And as this does too, but it is a very slight slope, and this is not going to be looking above. And why I brought up this is the multifamily as proposed to the south, the Fellowship Square. And while it does go down, that is a 3-story building, about 45 feet high, but it's 90 feet away from that area. So it's a very slight slope. but there's a good distance between those two.
So there might be, what, a foot and a half drop maybe?
With like a 2% slope, yes, sir.
2%, okay. So 2% of 90 is 1.8, right? So 1.8 feet.
Grab my phone and answer.
That's about right. Okay, so 1.5 feet. All right, that's okay. I think that'll work.
Thank you.
So, thanks, Bart.
Any more questions from council? Youth council, you got any questions on self-storage or anything? All right. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. First call. And second call. Final call. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. Now, going once, going twice. Close the public hearing. Council, any other comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve ordinance 2016-30.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Please cast your vote.
Unanimous yes vote.
Great presentation, Bart. Thank you.
I wanted to mention if there's someone here from Digiplex, your license was approved during consent agenda.
All right, next item.
Item number 10, consideration and action pertaining to approval of neighborhood grant program awards as recommended by the Committee on Community Outreach Partnerships and Grants for the fiscal year 2016-2017 neighborhood grant applications.
All right, Mr. Dyson and Ms. Toss, take it away.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
I'm ready. This item before you tonight is bringing funding recommendations from the Subcommittee on Community Outreach Partnerships and Grants. So a quick overview again of what the program is. The program is intended to empower residents, increase community engagement. That's kind of the overall gist of it. Our subcommittee, our council subcommittee on community outreach, partnership and grants makes the funding recommendation. And our current council members, our councilwoman is our chair, Councilwoman Villanueva, Councilmember John Williams, and Councilmember Mr. Winters. So the guidelines to be eligible for the program is to provide a public benefit, result in a product that benefits the neighborhood or a larger surprise community, be able to be complete by June 15th of next year, involve the benefiting neighborhood in project identification, planning, and execution. They must work with their HOA if they're in an HOA, be educational, community building, or public physical improvement if possible. So our application process, so this is a unique grant application. All you need is 5 neighbors to be willing to sign on to a grant proposal. They must include a thorough description of how the funding will be utilized, and the project must comply with city and HOA policies. The process for the timeline this year, we released it in August, and we had a good 7-week application period. We had an information session on September 7th. We had a community outreach partnerships grants meeting where the applicants tonight presented to the subcommittee their proposals, and tonight is your action as you desire for funding. So we have 2 applicants that came forward this year, Marley Park and Santa Elena. Marley Park is wishing to complete their Veteran Commemorative Plaza, which is a second-year applicant. And Santa Elena is wishing to complete their water conservation and then do some rehab on their playground equipment. It's really a health and safety issue right now for them, and so they're wanting to get that done real quick. So the guidelines, they would be available for funding starting tomorrow if you agree. Again, and all funding must be spent by June 15th. Reporting will be similar to the Surprise Community Outreach Program, which we just came to you a couple months ago. Which that is just a quarterly report, making sure they check in with staff, whatever we can do to provide technical assistance as needed. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Seth, is this a reimbursable program? Is it they do the work, spend the money, provide an invoice, reimbursed?
No, this is actually money up front.
So we up front,
Yes.
we disperse the money.
Yes.
Okay, and so how do we know, what's our mechanism to check that the work has been done?
This is where our human service community vitality team makes sure we have a close relationship with each entity. So we ask them to submit receipts just for our documents, so we know that whatever their funds, whatever their expense has been, it aligns. And so when we have a question about it, we can go back. And so we still are accepting of their receipts, but again, it's money up front. Many of these groups, don't have the cash on hand to go ahead and make that purchase or to go buy all those supplies for a special event. This gets them started, and this is the second trial run of it.
So they gave you somewhat of a estimate in their proposal?
Yes, sir, Councilmember. We have a budget. Each applicant has submitted a full budget. Within that is some line items of what they're wanting to pay for, and that's what we look for when they submit their receipts. And so we want to make sure it's appropriate funding, of course.
Okay. And I'm sure the other council people looked at it. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Questions, comments? Councilmember Villanueva.
I just wanted to let you know that these two groups, and because there's a lot of need out in the community, and we heard that there was a lot more people, a lot other projects that would like to apply for this money, that we extended the time on this project. I'm not sure, I don't remember the date, if we have a closing date on that.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Councilwoman Villanueva, we've opened up the application process again. We had $13,000 still to spend. And so with this funding recommendation, this takes $6,000 of that. So we have $7,000 left on the table. We've been approached by 3 different entities who are interested in applying. And so they have about 5 more weeks to submit an application as of today to get that in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the funding recommendations as presented.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Please cast your vote.
Unanimous yes vote.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good job. Next item.
Consideration and action on fiscal year 2016 budget amendment reallocating appropriations from various funds required to close the fiscal year 2016 budget. This is resolution 2016-106.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council. As we presented during the work session today, we're undergoing our audit as we speak. These are some of the amendments that are necessary in order to close out fiscal year 2016. Total amendment package that will actually take $2.8 million from contingency for various purposes for these different groups here, as we'll go through in detail. General fund actually has a net zero impact. We're moving funds or budget authority between different departments or from personnel to non-personnel or vice versa, all required by our current budget policy. No use of contingency in the case of the general fund, and all of these expenditures were as part of the presentation that we had earlier tonight. Special revenue funds, about $1.4 million worth of use of contingency. The majority of the funds that you see listed here either had additional resources that weren't anticipated and were needed during the fiscal year. We have one fund, the Ground Ambulance Fund, that we discussed previously with the council about potentially expanding that service. We'll have a presentation here in a couple presentations later. We'll bring that back to you for action. So that one isn't an increase in revenues, but there is an increase in expenditures that we discussed previously at a work session. Internal service funds, both the Employee Healthcare Fund and Risk Management Fund, we had additional claims higher than expected when we put the 2016 budget together, but during the 2017 budget, we had anticipated all of these expenses so that it was not unanticipated when we put together the 2017 budget. It was all within the contingency within those funds. And we have a few groups here, the streetlight improvement districts. We had a handful of SLIDs that needed additional budget authority. Development impact fees, we had to move an expenditure from the water impact fee to the water resource impact fee. And then finally, debt service funds to cover our debt service payments. We had project adjustments, mostly having to do with carry forwards in the amount of $382,000 and various adjustments within the grants of approximately $53,000. Are there any questions?
Questions from council?
I move to approve resolution 2016-141.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Please cast your vote.
Unanimous vote.
Thanks, Jared. Next item.
Consideration and action pertaining to fiscal year 2017 budget amendment, reallocating appropriations from various funds which are dependent on fiscal year 2016 expenditure estimates and adjusting budget authority, resolution 2016-141.
Good evening, Madam or Mr. Chair. I think I was the first one to make that mistake tonight.
Good evening, Ms. Duncan. I mean, Jared.
That's not the first time that's mistakes been made. Mr. Chair, members of the council, I'm glad to be back in front of you again tonight. We're going to go over the 2017 budget amendments. The net change we're going to see here is actually a decrease of contingency that's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. Usually we're sweeping funds, budget authority back into contingency. Because of one of the items we mentioned earlier, specifically the IRIS development agreement, where we have to more or less carry forward expenditure authority for that agreement, we're actually seeing a decrease in contingency this time around. The carry forward adjustments, $155,400 in total, just due to expenses that occurred or did not occur in the case of IRIS for the 2016 expenses. Most of these have to do with the capital improvement plan with the exception of IRIS. We have other adjustments, specifically moving that same expenditure we talked about, moving an expenditure from the water development impact fee to the water resource development impact fee. And finally, we have a clarification on a utility billing item from previously. We're not actually asking to do another budget amendment. We're just clarifying the amounts that had been posted previously that weren't adjusted. This is actually the third amendment that we're doing as we continue to sweep carry forward amounts out of the 2017 budget. And that's just a clarification on the amounts from the previous resolution. Finally, we have various transfers between the funds, mostly having to do with the need to transfer or not transfer into our capital fund. So as we've moved out carry forward amounts out of our capital improvement plan, the need for transfers between operating funds and capital funds have changed, and that's what you see here. Are there any questions?
Any questions, council?
I move to approve resolution 2016-141.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Wingo.
Maybe I heard incorrectly. Excuse me. Did Councilman Hall move on the last item to approve resolution 2016-141?
Correct.
Should have been resolution 2016-106.
Previous item.
Oh, the previous item. I don't know. Can we go? Let's go to the videotape.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it myself.
Let's see here. Okay, the top one, right? Okay.
So if we could just have a vote to,
wait, it is.
Can we close this item and go back to that?
It's 106.
Yeah, the council can ratify that. It's just an error. So,
okay.
If you can move to approve the previous resolution.
So can we close this? We have a motion and a second on the current item. Can we go back to that after this vote?
That would be extremely appropriate.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. So cast your vote on the current item.
Councilmember Hall, need your vote, please.
Got it.
Thank you. That's a unanimous yes vote.
Okay, so we're going back to item number 11.
Okay, that's my goof up. I would like to amend that motion to approve resolution 2016-106. Is that okay, Robert?
Yeah, I would prefer it just be, I move to approve the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move to approve resolution 2016-106.
Second that motion.
Item's been made and seconded by Councilmember Villanueva. Please cast your vote. So you have 2 approvals on the second one.
Unanimous yes vote.
All right. Nailed it.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, next item.
Item 13, consideration and action pertaining to an amendment to the fiscal year 2017 budget to reallocating appropriations of $292,800 and $299,500 within the ground ambulance fund for the purpose of expansion of service and receipt of revenue, respectively, and authorizing 6.5 new full-time equivalents in the fire medical department, resolution 2016-130.
That is a run-on sentence. Good evening, Chief Abbott.
Back to staff for that. Good evening, Mr. Chair and Council. As the agenda wording indicates, we're coming before you with Resolution 2016-130. And as Budget Manager Askelson indicated, this is going to be a budget amendment to authorize us to utilize $292,800 to incur cost for the placing the ambulance number 2 in service. And we're anticipating $299,500 conservatively towards the revenue that we'll generate with this ambulance. And this is for the balance of FY17, starting in mid-January is what we anticipate. And we came before you on September 6th of this year with Resolution 2016-107 to authorize the purchase of the 2 ambulances, which we believe will be should arrive by mid-December, and we should be ready to put the second one in service by mid-January. And what this will allow us to do with the current budget amendment before you for the $292,800 is to hire 6 individuals, of which 3 will be non-sworn paramedics and 3 will be non-sworn EMTs. And then the halftime person is a continuation of a person we brought on 3 or 4 months ago due to a medical condition. And we'd like to retain her with the looking into the future. We'll be bringing before you in December a resolution to look at a fee structure for what we call treat and refer. So you'll see that at some point in time in the future, but we'll also be doing invoicing for that. So we'd like to retain this person. We've trained her, and we'd like to keep her to assist us with the invoicing as we move forward and help us with some clarification issues that we've experienced. So that's, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Councilmember Hall.
Thank you. Chief, just a question. By the end of fiscal year 17, are we going to be cash positive with 2 ambulances rolling?
Yes, sir. It is. As a matter of fact, as of last Friday, we're slightly over $95,000 cash positive.
Okay.
For the 1 ambulance that we have.
So,
as a matter of fact, tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary.
So, but in mid-January, we had six people and another unit, and we're going to be cash positive by the end of June 30th.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Council, any other questions? One question, Chief Abbott, is the $299,500 that projected revenue, is that annually or is that from January to June?
January, Mr. Chair, that is January till June. That's what we are estimating based on our experiences thus far with the one and only ambulance that we do have.
Very good. Thank you. Council, any other questions, comments? Youth council members, anything? We're good? Motion?
I move to approve resolution 2016-130.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded again. Please cast your vote.
Unanimous yes vote.
Thank you, Chief.
And the item 14 is discussion pertaining to an update from the Economic Development Department regarding planned celebratory activities and promotions anticipated for the reopening of Bell Road following the project road closure for the past 8 months.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the sagacious request for this update, Councilmember Hall.
That's inside joke. If you haven't watched our work session, tune in for the replay later on.
I can't believe I'm the only one that worked that in.
He already knows what that means, too.
I sure do. It's a very clever request. Thank you. Well, it's my pleasure to stand here before you and give you a brief update on the celebration planning for the reopening of Bell Road, which has been fully closed, as you know, since April 1st. So there are, of course, only 52 holiday shopping days left. There's only 23 days until Thanksgiving, just to strike a little more fear into everybody's heart. And then only 21 days to go, of course, until the reopening of Bell Road. So you can see this is very, very timely. So we have heard now in several public meetings from ADOT that they believe with some certainty that November 22nd will be the date that the Bell Road portion of the intersection will reopen. So this is of course their date. We want to be respectful of that, and I just wanted to lay out a few ideas for you in terms of how we reached a celebration idea and how we reached these objectives as priorities. So keeping in mind, this is, even though the Bell Road portion is opening, this will be an entire active construction site through, we hope, the end of February in time for spring training. So this will be active. And so when our team looked at that, we really wanted to make this not, of course it's important that Bell Road is reopening. That's such a significant, legendary road for the entire region. In fact, really what we wanted to focus on were, the businesses. So we want to thank the businesses. That's our top priority. Not only the businesses, all of the partners that helped us support the businesses together, the residents, the consumers, the visitors who frequented those businesses. So that's really the utmost importance to us. Secondly, and again, in support of the businesses, we want to publicize that Bell Road is open. Come here for holiday shopping. And then on an ongoing basis, of course, we want to set a tone. We want to promote this on an ongoing basis for business. So just to give you the skinny on what our committee has put together for the celebration, we would like to just right the day before Bell Road opens, we'd like to host a ceremony. It will be a milestone event. And again, the express priority of the event is for all of us to thank those businesses for what they've done and for their resilience during the full closure of the of Bell Road, not the entire intersection, but of Bell Road. So we're looking at the afternoon. Of course, we want to keep in mind some of the sensitivities that ADOT has with the constant construction. But that said, we really want to usher in the holiday shopping. Now, we've earmarked the Target parking lot, not because we're huge Target shoppers or anything like that. As we looked at the map, it was an intersection area that was most available for parking that would least disrupt the entirety of the intersection. And of course, everyone is invited. Most importantly, we want the businesses to attend. We want the businesses to not only attend, but we want them to know that we'd like them to bring their deals of the day. We want them to start advertising anything that they're doing in promotion of the holidays. So this is, it's not just a celebration, it's an opportunity for us to really usher in some holiday shopping. And of course, we're not asking to, this is just an informational update. We've already had a budget approved. Thank you for doing that several months ago in support of the campaign and in support of events that support the businesses. And so that budget, of course, we're earmarking for the promotion of it, refreshments, equipment, and anything else. else. And of course, just a reminder that the holidays will happen. We'll do everything we can to usher that in. But there's still a few months ahead where we need to really support those businesses. The property managers at a portion of the bigger portion of the Bell and Grand retail shopping center will host a December event. We of course want to lend our support to that and make sure that everyone in the community attends that they're shopping at that intersection. We'll continue to partner with the chamber. We'll continue to promote the message that we are open for business. And of course, as we always do, we'll keep the business education events and make sure that everybody feels like they've got all the tools that they need to be successful. And so with that, I am excited to take your questions.
Councilmember Hall. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's see, a couple things. Does the planning of the event include the east side of Grand Avenue?
Of course, the event will actually, everyone will be invited. We want we want every business to know that this event is for all of the businesses at all sections of the intersection. So
okay.
All impacted sections, we want them to come. We want them to promote themselves. It's an event for the businesses. So while, of course, we've looked at different intersections where we could actually host the event, and I don't know if that's.
But there won't be any kind of signage or ribbon or anything on the east side of Grand. We're asking the business to come over to Target.
And there are some logistics that are still in the planning phases. So I can't speak to that. Again, it's an active construction
something to consider.
Something to consider, absolutely.
Because when you look at the businesses I've talked to, the loss of business has been from the east, not as much from the west. It's been Sun City and Sun City West who have moved east for their shopping, and that's where I can cite all kinds of examples. Okay, but so it seems to me that we'd want to do something that would invite them. I'm talking about those people on the east side to be part of this, because the business anyway. So keep that in mind, okay?
Thank you.
And then what, and maybe this is a question for Diane, what plans are there to include media outlets for this event? Are we talking to TV stations? In other words, we had a lot of coverage when we closed it.
Yeah.
When we closed it, we had Channel 5, Channel 10, Channel 12, whatever.
Yeah, we'll definitely pitch this event to the regional media. A.2, we just had a meeting with them yesterday, and they're really engaged in just ramping up the notification that the bridge opens on the 22nd.
Okay.
So we chimed in and said, well, we're having this event the day before, so we're trying to drum some business here as well in terms of media coverage.
Okay, good. And then the other thing is on the guest list. I don't know.
We'll be invited.
Oh, yeah, we'll be invited, yeah. But I think we need to include some other people. For instance, Clint Hickman, the county supervisor, because his constituents, he was very vocal about being against this Bell Grand thing. And the fact that he wasn't included, he wasn't in the communication loop from ADOT, and it impacted a lot of his constituents. So I think back to Sun City and Sun City West, I think we need to make sure Clint Hickman is aware of this. That's an example, okay? And then are we working in partnership with the chamber?
Yeah, the chamber will have a role to play as well. Janine was right on that. They've been great partners.
Okay. And then finally, my last question is, are there plans for the attendees to this event to receive a commemorative token? That
she's happy about that.
I'm happy. I don't know what I can unveil here. Our planning committee, as you know, I have a lot of energy and I have a lot of creativity. So we've thrown a lot of ideas out. Some of them probably will, never hit the light of day. But a lot of creative ideas have been bounced around the theme of Bell Road, so and holidays and so forth. So we are working on some fun commemorative items that we hope will be fun and exciting, just to give a celebratory feel to the event. We want people to be excited about being there and shopping, about being part of the community.
Right.
And
Good.
so I hope that's not a lot of information, but we are
they can take away from the event
Correct.
that has some shelf life to it.
That's correct.
Right.
That's important.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Villanueva.
I wanted to ask you, the businesses on that side, will they have which I think it would be a good idea, but I know because of space, have a little tent with maybe some of their merchandise, just to show where they're at and who they are, with their name on the front. Would that take too much space from that area?
You're talking about the eastern portion of
wherever you're going to have the event. Maybe have a little tent put up with their business and have some merchandise that they can sell, or promotion things, or
absolutely. No, we see this as an opportunity to have them showcase.
I think this would also be a good idea for the east side of Grand Avenue to bring in their own tent and their own signs and let them know that they're there, from the east side.
Thank you.
Councilmember Winters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Janine, for preparing this celebration. It's, I think I'll ever look forward to it. Not only the residents, but also ADOT, when they're finally going to be finished with this gigantic project. And I know we're all intimidated by the size of this project, but aside from that one accident we had that went off pretty well, I think ADOT and the construction company did a great job. As for the invitees, I agree with Councilman Hall. We should invite our supervisor, our county supervisor, but don't stop there. Let's invite the governor.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Grand Avenue, Bell Road. Great job, Janine. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. All right. That concludes our regular business. Future agenda items from council. And we'll go to reports. Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things. The Arts Commission they're having some great events. I'm so proud of the Arts Commission, and I want to thank Nicole, specifically Lance, because the Arts Commission has had some frustrating traction, so to speak, since I've been on the council. And in the last year, they've been able to really get some traction. And I think that because of Nicole's leadership and respect for the Arts Commission, that they've been able to do some things and really make an impact. Anyway, that said, they had an event at the library with a comic book artist, this gentleman here, and he is something else. I tell you, the comic books he does, and he drew. We had like 40 kids there, and they were all about 8 years old to about 13, and really into comic books. And he drew right in front of them. He would. Like Ariel, the character Ariel, he'd draw her, and all of a sudden there she is, just amazing. I mean, it's inspiring watching these guys do this. And so anyway, I wanted to point out that was a great event. There was like 40 kids there, quite a few parents, and congratulations to the Arts Commission. And good job. They also had a history presentation on the history of Arizona. They're doing like 4 different lecture series. And the one was, this last one was on mining camps and brothels in the state of Arizona. Yeah, interesting. Then also, I went to Torque Trends, which did the city truck. Here's the city truck. It's all electrified. Just so cool. Oh, yeah. Plug and play. And Mitchell and Grace Yao, the CEO and the CFO of the company, they're in the Tech Accelerator, and they had a whole event. I think Councilman Hayden was there, weren't you? And I think Councilman-elect Ken Remley was there. And just really some neat stuff. If they get some contracts, I talked to Mitchell. I said, the next thing you got to do is get investors, okay? Because this thing could really take off, and he's working on that. And Julie's working with him on it. So those are a couple things I had. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. I'm still on brothels and mining. Councilmember Villanueva.
Yes, I wanted to report that, and I think I'm correct. Dysart High School, and correct me if you know anything else, but Dysart High School is a 9-1 on their football team. And this Friday, they're going to play Cactus. If they win, they're going to go to the playoffs. I think this is the first time Dysart has accomplished that, and I think it would be great if people would support them. I'm very excited, and I'm going to be there, hopeful that they do make it. I think they will. They're playing Cactus right on Greenway and 63rd Avenue, and this is the first time they've made it this far. So I'm real proud of them.
Really?
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Councilmember Hayden. He's good. Councilmember Winters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to again mention our great news from our city manager. Went from a AA plus rating, AA's minus rating to a AA plus rating. Great work done by, as our city manager said, everyone in the city. It's a big difference from 5 or 6 years ago. Really is. I went to an event at Northwest Ranch HOA meeting on October 20th. The residents there wanted some information about the bond, and a lot of staff members went with me to support me, and I really appreciate that. I echo a lot of the sentiments from my colleagues. What a great staff we have here, and it's for those staff that we're in good position right now. But at the Northwest Ranch HOA meeting, these folks came to that meeting and didn't have dinner with their family that night. And I want to mention their names, but I think it's important that we recognize those folks, that they leave their families to make sure people get educated about this bond. And I know they cannot promote the bond one way or the other because they work for the city, but I can and I have, and I sure hope it passes. But those folks that really supported me that evening was Chief Terry Young, Police Department, Mike Fraser, our Assistant City Manager, Nicole Lance, our Deputy City Manager, Sergeant Tim Kuklowski, the Police Department, Mike Gent, Public Works Director, Jennifer Booth, who's an officer in our Police Department, Donna Miller from CRS, and Brendan Espy from our Fire Department, and Jared Hoskin, our great finance guy. So I really appreciate the help being there. You kept the tomatoes toward you guys instead of toward me, so that was good. Went to a Surprise Farms 5 HOA picnic on October 22nd. A great bunch of residents over there. They were very welcoming to myself and my wife. We had a couple hot dogs, and it was a good time for all. And then we had a Desert Oasis HOA meeting up in my northwest district, and we also talked about the bond there. And again, I had a really good group of staff along with me, and we really educated the residents up in Desert Oasis. I impressed upon them how important it is to pass the bond because of the 304, which is one of their fire stations up there. And I explained to them it was a temporary fire station 14 years ago, and it's still temporary. But again, the staff there was terrific. Terry Young, our Chief of Police, and Tom Abbott, our Chief of the Fire Department, Nicole Lance again, Paul Fry from our CRS, Lindsay Duncan, our brains of the outfit, I always say, and Public Works Director Mike Gent. So that's my schedule. And it was pretty hectic, but it was a lot of fun. One last thing before I forget, actually two last things. One thing, we've got Fellowship Square coming to Sarville and Bell Road, District 1, my district, and I'm really happy about it. We went to the groundbreaking in July. They have a $65 million investment in Surprise. They're going to have independent living, assisted living, and memory care unit. And it's going to be a gated community. In fact, it's going to be very close to the storage unit we approved tonight. One last thing is it's Jody Tass's birthday today. She just turned 25. So happy birthday, Jody. I think I can speak for my colleagues because it's true in my case. My job is very, very more difficult without Jody. So we don't know what to do without her. That's my lengthy report. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member, and happy birthday, Jody. Yes. She lied. She told me she was turning 21 today. All right, 7-1 Cubs right now. Just really quickly, Terry Lowe. Congratulations, Terry Lowe. Went to ribbon cutting. There's Terry. Ribbon cutting ceremony last week. Gateway Community College and the City of Surprise have partnered, and Terry's spoken to us on the dais about that project. Just an amazing project in terms of workforce development in an area in the Arizona Sonoran Desert that is desperately needed. So great work, Mr. Lowe, and it was my honor to attend that. Well, I'm just going to cut it there. I will say to follow up on Councilmember Villanueva, Dysart schools and some of our charters have a number of athletic teams in the playoffs right now. Valley Vista High School football, Dysart High School football, Shadow Ridge volleyball. Willow Canyon has 8 swimmers competing, swimmers and divers competing at the state competition at Skyline in Mesa on Friday and Saturday. So just great job, great work from our Dysart students in all the schools. Paradise Honors, I believe their football team has been very successful and continues to move on. So great work. It's an exciting time of year for high school sports. And with that, enjoy Cubs Indians. This I need to make a motion, right?
Yeah. Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Meeting's adjourned.
Would you consider swimming in water containing pet waste, oil, pesticides, or trash? If you've ever tried to cool down in a water-filled retention basin, you did. When rainfall creates runoff, that water travels through our streets and open channels to retention basins and washes, picking up pet waste, oil, cleaning fluid, pesticides,